Welcome back to 59 Minutes. My name is Levi Kones. We are here with two ladies who are discussing with me the challenges of startups. Talking to WANJIKU, WAIRIA, and SHEILA MAINGI. WANJIKU, you're a business strategic advisor.
Yes.
That sounds ominous. We'll say. So let me ask, when it comes to challenges, and challenges especially in doing businesses, what are some of the things you guys have seen in your field that have come, and how would you navigate them? Let me start with you, SHEILA.
Okay. Some of the challenges, especially startups, is when one is looking for capital. You're looking for capital to start this particular business, but you don't have the money. You've tried to fundraise from family and friends, but it's not been visible. So you go to a bank or a microfinance bank to look for the money, which is okay. However, you get to the bank and you're asked for collateral.
Yeah.
You don't have land, you don't have a car to take a logbook, so where do you end up? Back to Sherlock's. It's easy money. Yeah. So you find that you borrow money to start a business, you're paying back an interest of 30% at the end of the month. It doesn't make sense at all. So that's how most businesses feel, actually within the first 2 years. Because you get your first payment, you pay back.
Yeah, they get gobbled up.
Exactly. So you don't have money for the next project. So when the next project comes, or when you get the next gig, you still go back to the Sherlock to borrow money. So I would say one of the challenges is that collateral. I think as startups or maybe as youths, we need a platform where we can just access money to start businesses, because you find most youths don't have collateral, which is almost
and then even when they start,
all the time.
they don't even have the experience, or no one takes you seriously because of that either.
Exactly. So you find you're asked for 6 months statements. You've not been in business. You're just starting. I mean, you say, yeah. So as you said, no one takes you seriously. Yeah, it's a challenge.
Yeah. Somebody said that, you know, when you go to deposit money in the bank, they don't give you a chair. They don't give you anything. They tie the pen to the. But when you go to borrow, after they have seen what you have done, they call you now and offer you a loan. They give you a chair, they give you coffee, you get a free pen to go home.
A notebook.
Yeah, but now they're jumping on the thing because it's already taken off.
Exactly.
When you are talking to people about these challenges, what are the most common ones, especially with regards to, you know, Kenyan business men and ladies?
All right, the biggest challenge that I have experienced is inability to understand needed structure to run a business, inability to understand it. So most of us have got fragments depending on who you talk to, which circles you're in, which industry you're in. So you have fragments of what you need to do.
So we're entering on a feel-good thing.
A feel-good thing and feeling like I kind of know it, as opposed to knowing that irrespective whether it's service or product and irrespective of industry, businesses are run within these structures. So that is the biggest challenge, because a lot of times you said, okay, what do I need? I need to register a business name. Those things are there. The government has provided that. And that's actually one of the biggest wins, I think, the government has done for businesses. Because now I don't need to think 10 times about how to, you know, put a memorandum of understanding if I want a limited liability company. So just adopt it and move on. So that part is there. So that is already sorted out for you. So you have gotten the paperwork. Then what? Where do you set up? Are you going to have an e-business, or are you going to have a physical business? And where are you starting? Do you feel that your brand you want to have a big brand, so you want to be in a mall? I mean, what are those things? And then come back internally on the back end. What does human resource look like for you? Do you have to have it all? Do you have to have a receptionist, a cleaner, and what does that look like? Who keeps your books, and how do you keep them? When you talk about software as well, what software are you using for your accounting? So they're the common brand names that we know, which are excellent when your business is at a certain level. But you also have exceptional business management softwares that are free, which will help you manage your people in terms of whether it's leave, whether it's payroll, all those things. It will help manage your accounting as well, your invoicing, your debt collection. It will aid your books for you. And you do not have to pay for that software at all until you're at a certain level of business. So like as Sheila was saying, then you can have somebody who can come in and have a look at your books once a quarter and say, this is not looking good. This, WANJIKU, you need to change this. Where are you sourcing if you're in a product business? Where are you sourcing? Do you feel that you must only source from a particular place because that's the name that big names are known for? Yet you can deal sick somewhere else. And I have this thought of, dust is just dust. You can take a shower later on, and oil up and, like if you're a chick like me, put on your killer heels and walk into a room and pitch for the business. Go downtown, the amount of business that is done. And the interesting thing that I have learned about what I call worldwide traders, that's what I call downtown, because there's somebody who has something that you need.
Yes.
True.
And they know the guy who knows a guy who knows a guy who will give you the guy who gives it at the best price.
True.
So I call them worldwide traders because there's nothing that I cannot find. So where are you deal seeking? Are you deal seeking? Are you bringing down your cost of operations to be able to maximize your profits? Who are you trading with? Are you sourcing different people who what is that back end structure for you? Because without your back end structure being solid, it's going to be very difficult for you to be able to catapult your business. Now, all of this comes down to one thing: mindset. Is that that's where I'm going. I'm very clear about where I'm going. But before I get to step 2, I may need to take baby steps. And what do baby steps look like? And which way will I turn? And all that has to come with structure. And the moment the mindset is right, it is that's therefore very easy for you to be able to say, from where I am, I may not need to downscale where my office location is, but there are many things within my business I can downscale. My cost of operations, I can hire differently, I can work with different sets of vendors, I can reiterate my products as well, all my services, and say, you know what, this I do not enjoy to do, but it also brings me this amount of revenue that can help support the big thing that I want to do. So it helps you work through those kind of structures within your business to allow it room to grow as well.
Yeah.
And are you afraid of putting your hands into the business? Not everybody has got to do everything for you. If you're the one of the business, put your hands in the business.
Be there hands-on.
Roll up your sleeves.
No, there's something she mentioned about, she talked about trainings and some of the things she studied. How important is that when you are starting your business, getting knowledge?
Getting knowledge is very important. Knowledge is king. Because if you do not know how to do, for example, let me talk about something that I said, numbers. As much as I don't like numbers, it is important for me to understand how numbers come together. Very important. And a lot of times, the response you get about getting access to this information is, I don't have the resources. Fair enough.
Say,
but if you're resourceful enough, there's a lot of free coursework on the internet, even pre-COVID. And now with COVID, you have even your Ivy League universities, the Stanfords, the Yales, the Harvards, providing small-scale courses for free. So it is things that you can even get.
And I tell my kids, ask Google the right questions.
Yes.
Correct.
And it will give you what you want.
Exactly.
Yes.
So there are a lot of free courses that you can take, even on entrepreneurship, because in itself it's a mindset and it's a way you approach it. And in there you'll have a lot of structure given to you. Whether it's accounting and you don't want to be an accountant, but you want the basics of bookkeeping, there's websites that you can go in 6 weeks. They've walked you through what that looks like. You have basic exams to make sure you've understood the principles. And when you're engaging an accountant now, you know what to ask for.
Exactly.
You have the questions to ask.
I hear you. Sheila, let me ask, the world is changing quickly and changing every day in terms of people's consumption of different goods. What are you doing yourself? How do you keep your mind abreast with the changing trends and make sure that you're in tandem with them?
What I do, I read a lot. I read a lot of books, and I also do a lot of research. I like to be out there to know what is happening. So I'm out there. I want to know where we are currently, where we are going. I talk to people. I attend seminars, you know, so that my mind is open.
Yeah. What would you say about that?
It's the same thing that I do. And about a year or so ago, I decided to go back to basics. Because of operating at an advisory level, you rarely find yourself in spaces where
you can find yourself out of touch.
Not even out of touch, where you're being fed. So it's like, because you're always giving, you know, you're always giving.
Yeah,
so I decided to go back to basics, and I like what Sheila has said. For me, I am probably one of those serial webinar attendees. I don't know, Nigeria Trade Commission is running something about trade in West Africa. You'll find me in there listening. I may not even understand what some of these things are, but every single time I sit in those spaces, I find that I learn so much, and I continue to grow, and it opens my mindset in terms, and my mindsight. Mindsight is how I see the world based on what I internalize. So my mindset is consistently expanding. The other thing that I realized is that because you're in business and have been in business for a while, you kind of tend to think you know a lot. So when you have younger people who are either starting businesses or talks about them starting businesses or things to consider, a lot of us then would not attend that. I started attending those, and I started realizing that when we started business was a long time ago, and the dynamics were different, and how the market is operating now is very different, and that's how you learn. So for me, I also say always to go back to basics, because it's something that I have done in the last 2 years, and it has changed how I interrogate myself. And then if you can hang out with people who are 10 years younger than you, and don't open your mouth, sit and listen. In the midst of the chaos and the fun that you're having, you're going to learn so much. And then make sure that you can hang out with people who are 10, 15, 20 years older than you.
True.
Those two brackets feed you in a way as an entrepreneur in terms of how you see a concept very, very, very differently. And you'll find that these people don't have to be more educated than you. They don't have to be operating at the same level. It could be in the village. I don't know, you've gone to visit and you found some wazesi, just plonk yourself there and listen to what they're saying. You'll be amazed at how that will open your mind in terms of how you see the world, and thus impact how you engage and how you deliver a service and or engage with your customers.
Yeah. What would you guys say about doing business in the country, given our laws, our financial, obligations? Would you have any comment about that and the things you have to do to run a business here? Is it hard, easy? Could it be better?
I think for me, I would say there are so many opportunities in Kenya. Like, the opportunities are there. You only need to know what you want to do. Earlier, WANJIKU said she can't run into the cleaning business because I'm doing a cleaning business. She only needs to know what she can do better and run for it. Because the opportunities are there. There are so many. The only challenge I experienced personally is funding. Thankfully, I had my 8 to 5, which helped me in one way or another. But immediately I resigned, and I used all my savings, and I needed funding. I found it hard. For me, I did fundraising from my family and friends, but I also sit up with other startups, and they say how funding is hard. I understand the government is trying to say something, but I've not tried. However, I think the opportunities are there. And just maybe funding, but doing business in Kenya is easy. As long as you know what you want and you have the right mind.
And rewarding.
Yeah.
Well, yes, I agree with Sheila. And over and above that, I think there's an element of doing business in Kenya that we don't talk about much. It's the cost of facilitation to do business.
Licensing and all that.
There's that which is above board. Then there's the cost of doing business below board. And that can really cripple your business as well.
Yeah.
So I think there's sometimes a lot of naivety when you get into the business, into entrepreneurship.
You're very polite about that. The cost of corruption.
It's
kurudisha mkono. There's a lot of kurudisha mkono in this country.
Yes, yes, and a lot of times I say it's easier for men because then it is basically cash business. For ladies, it can get quite a bit complicated in more ways than one. So I think a lot of times we get into business blinded about that side, and it's an area that you need to be aware of. And you may then decide that I'm not going to do this. This is not an avenue I'm going to take. And if you make that as a principal decision as an entrepreneur, then you also now sometimes maybe need to be ready for your business to grow a lot slower. But there is a bigger chunk, which I say it's almost like 90%, who are happy to do business without facilitation. But it takes a minute to get there. So that's why I said earlier, I said patience is king. You may need to be able to persevere a lot longer. But you may hit a stroke of luck that allows you directly to go in and, and you hit a jackpot and you don't have to do any facilitation. But if you then do decide that you're going to do facilitation, then your cost of operations compound significantly. Because then we talk to each other. We say, WANJIKU does facilitation. So, I'm referring you to her, but then the chain gets longer. So there's that dynamic that complicates doing business. And I don't think it's just doing business here. I think it's just generally doing business. But over and above that, the opportunities are many. What we call the quota for youth and women is a real factor, and that opens a lot of opportunities. And the financial sector, I'm glad, are waking up and becoming alive to the facts of the things that Sheila was talking about. I may not have collateral to get into business. Is there a way you can be able to fund my business? And there's a lot of financial institutions which are supporting women in business and the youth in business. And the women in business is a big deal. So it's getting easier to get funding without necessarily having collateral or having the statements or without having to bring a man to co-sign an agreement with the bank, which has been very demeaning for a lot of women. Yes, but that is shifting now. So I do agree there are a lot of opportunities, but it must come back down to the why.
Fortunately, we are running out of time. So in just the next 4 minutes, I'll give you 2 each. What would you tell someone who's out there who wants to start a business? What advice would you give, Sheila? And we'll finish with you, WANJIKU. What would you tell them this morning?
Okay. For me, it's be intentional of what you want, know what you want, and go for it. Don't listen to naysayers because they'll always be there. As long as you know what you want, get the right people to back you up. And go for it because it's possible.
Over and above what Sheila has said is that one, remember passion is not always enough. Passion will get you started, but your discipline is what's going to keep you on the table. 2, know your values and stick by them. And not values because they're generic, but what are your non-negotiables? Be very clear about those and stick with them. Every time you stick with them, they will always open a new door when one closes. The third thing, which is also very important, surround yourself with the right people every single time. They don't have to be in the same industry. They don't have to be greater than you. They can even be younger than you. These are the pillars that are going to hold you during the storm. And most importantly, always remember to give back. Every time, find a reason to give back to somebody who can never pay you back. What goes around comes around and comes back compounded 100 times. And believe in yourself. You can do it. Others have done it. I have done it. Sheila has done it. And so can you.
I love that. Give and it'll come back. Good measure. Pressed down.
Shaken together.
And running over. We're going to end on that note. Thank you so much for coming, ladies. I appreciate your time.
Thank you for having us.
And your advice. I know you usually charge for this, but asanteni sana.
I'm sending a fee note.
Yeah, you'll send a fee note to the viewers. We will end it there. That's 59 minutes for today. See you tomorrow, God willing. God bless you. Good day.